Hi, today we're going to talk about point-slope form. So first, it'd be really helpful to know what point-slope form is. And that would be y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So a reminder, y1 and x1, that's a point, a specific point on the line. And m is our slope. So we probably want to write m is slope, which you've heard me say a bunch. You're going to hear me say it a bunch more. And then x1 comma y1 is a point on the line. Okay, to graph it is actually pretty easy. You're going to take the point you're given, x1, y1, plot it. So plot x1, comma y1, and then use the slope to get other points, just like we've done when we were plotting something that was in the slope-intercept form. Okay, to write an equation when you're given the slope and a point, all you do is plug it in. Oops, you can't quite see that word point and point. Just plug it in. That's all you gotta do. Let's do some examples. Our first example, we have slope is -4/5, and the point 5, 1 is on the line. Well, remember our equation looks like this. So first, let's plug in that slope. All right. And remember, we always do x, y. So we have y minus 1, and then we have x minus 5. And that's it. That's all you gotta do. Let's do one more. So we're gonna do y minus our y1. Here's our y1 equals our slope, which is -3, times x, and then pause and think a moment. We want to subtract our x1 value. Well, when we subtract -2, that's really the same as adding 2. All right, let's move on to the next page. Okay, here's where it's actually going to get a little complicated. If we're given a point and a slope, and we're told to write it in point and slope-intercept form, there's a couple ways to do it. So reminder, slope-intercept, we're switching gears. Slope-intercept is this. Y equals mx plus b. So if we're told a point and a slope, and you're told to put it in point-slope form, there are two ways to solve it. We're going to show both ways to do that. So first, it's what we've been doing for a couple of days now. So our goal, if our slope is 3, our point is -1, 2, we want to get y equals mx plus b. One way to solve it is to plug in everything we know into this equation. So for example, we got m, this is our x, and this is a y. So y is 2, m is 3, x is -1, and we don't know b. All right, so we got 2 equals 3 times -1 plus b. Remember, we don't know b, so we leave it as b. Now we got to solve for b. Well, first we need to take care of our parentheses. So 3 times -1 is -3. Well, if we want to solve for b, we got to get b by itself. Right now we have -3 plus b. To get rid of that -3, we need to add 3 to both sides. Well, 2 plus 3, hopefully that's an easy question. We got 5 equals -3 plus 3, that's 0. So 5 equals b. Well, fantastic. 5 is b. We already know from up here that our slope, our m, is 3. So we can plug what we know back into y equals mx plus b. So y equals m is 3, x plus our b, which is 5. Fabulous. That's one way to do it. Let's look at the other way. So the other way, we're actually going to start with the point slope form. So remember, that's this. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Well, let's plug in the point we have and the slope. So we get y minus, our y1 is 2, equals m is 3 times x. Watch out, we want minus a negative 1. That's actually plus 1. Okay, we want to get y by itself because our goal is to get it in this form, y equals mx plus b. To do that, well, first, I almost skipped ahead of myself, didn't I? First, we need to take care of our parentheses, don't we? So we need to distribute this 3. So the left doesn't change. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. All right, now we want to get y by itself. To do that, we need to move this negative 2. When I say move, I mean we need to add 2 to both sides. So on the left, negative 2 plus 2, that's 0. So we just have y equals 3x just comes down. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So notice it doesn't matter which way we did it, we end up with the exact same answer. Or at least you should. So whichever way you like better, do that one. Personally, I like this one better. But if you like this one, fabulous. More power to you. Let's look at the second bit. Now, if we're given 2 points and we're told to write an equation in point slope and slope intercept form, it's going to take a couple of steps. So here's our example. We're given the point 4, 2 and 6, negative 4 is on our line. Well, first, our step 1, you need to find the slope. Find the slope. Okay, to do that, I would make a little chart. So we got our x's, we got our y's, so we got 4, 2, and 6, negative 4. Well, to go from 4 to 6, we added 2. This one's a little tougher. To go from 2 to negative 4, we subtracted 6. So remember, our slope is our change in y over our change in x. And what I wrote in blue, that's our changes. So slope is change in y, or delta y over delta x. So that means our slope is our change in y, negative 6, over our change in x, 2. Well, there's an easier way to write that. Negative 6 divided by 2 is really negative 3. So our slope is negative 3. Okay, now we know the slope and a point, so we can do either of these 2 examples, the 2 ways of solving like we just saw. Here, let me move this. We can do either of these methods to find the point slope and the slope intercept. So let's start with the point slope. So for the point slope, let's plug in one of the points. So let's say our point is 4, 2, and we just said our slope is negative 3. So we just plug it in to this equation, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So to get point slope, plug in your points. So remember, points are always x comma y. So we got y minus ry, which is 2, equals the slope, -3, times x, and subtract the x we're given, -4. There we go. So that's our point slope. So we did 1/2 of it. We put it in point slope. Now we want to find slope intercept. Well, since it's already in this format, the easiest thing to do would be to go from there, solve for y, like we did on the right side of our example before. So remember our first step, let's see, I'm going to rewrite it. That helps me out. Our first step, if we want to solve for y, is to distribute that -3. So we get y minus 2. -3 times x is -3x. Be careful, -3 times -4 is +12. Fabulous. We need y all by itself. Right now it has the -2. So to get y by itself, we need to add 2 to both sides. So we have y equals -3x. 12 plus 2 is 14. And that is the slope-intercept form. Okay, you have some practice to do. Let me know if you have questions.